Hey guys, Kate here. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Planning Collective podcast. For today's episode, I want to flip things around a little bit. And instead of talking about what you should be doing for your wedding, I want to talk about some things that you might want to consider not doing. Because here's the thing about weddings. Somewhere along the line, a bunch of traditions turned into rules. Like if you don't do them, your marriage is automatically cursed or something like that. The reality is, though, the only thing you really must do on your wedding day is sign the marriage license with your officiant. Now, if you're at a church, a synagogue, or a temple, they'll likely have some other rules or requirements that you might need to do. But outside of that, it's all part of the celebration. Some of these so-called rules are outdated, impractical, or just plain not your style. So today I'm going to walk you through 10 wedding rules that I would personally break without a second thought, and what you can do instead that actually feels like you. Rule number 1 is actually my favorite one to break, and that is that you cannot see each other before the ceremony. Now, this is probably one of the most hotly debated topics when it comes to weddings. And if you've listened to my past episodes on what we call first looks, you know exactly where I stand on this. The whole not seeing each other before the ceremony thing comes from an old superstition, people thinking that it is bad luck. Historically speaking, though, it comes from arranged marriages where the couples intentionally were kept apart from seeing each other so that they didn't feel like they wanted to back out. Yikes, right? Not the most romantic reasoning behind this tradition. Most couples will break this rule in order to have what we call a first look, which is seeing each other prior to the ceremony. And for many of my couples, this ends up being their favorite part of the day. You get a quiet moment, just the two of you. It calms your nerves a little bit because I hope that you think your fiance is your best friend. Can you imagine going the majority of your wedding day without your best friend? And why wouldn't you want to spend more time together? The bonus is that you can get most, if not all, of your photos done prior to cocktail hour or prior to the ceremony so that you can actually enjoy your cocktail hour. I'm not going to ramble on this one too much. I have previous episodes that cover this, but if you are going right from your ceremony into your cocktail hour, I strongly feel that a first look is almost a requirement in order for you to truly enjoy the day and not feel stressed about when you're taking your photos. Rule number 2, you have to have the same number of bridesmaids as you have groomsmen, or same number on either side of the wedding party. Nobody appreciates symmetry and even numbers more than a wedding planner, but I'm here to give you permission to have uneven wedding parties. While it is certainly ideal if it works out that your numbers are even on both sides, think about the reason that you want people in your wedding party. These are the people in your lives that you feel closest to, that you want to be there as witnesses to your wedding vows. The people that support the two of you in your relationship and will support you throughout your marriage, including just acquaintances to make things even, or worse yet, leaving someone that is important to you out because the numbers don't match up feels so silly to me. There is always a way that we can make the processional and announcements work, even if the counts are wildly different. So if you've been struggling with the idea of having an uneven wedding party, don't worry about it. Rule number 3, you must have a traditional tiered wedding cake. Don't get me wrong, if you want a traditional cake, have a traditional cake. But if you don't, the options are truly endless for what you can do for dessert. You can have a dessert station, donuts, cupcakes, cookies, pies, ice cream trucks. You can even have just a small cutting cake for the two of you and serve something else for the guests later on. I had a couple that love ice cream, and so they wanted to have a sundae bar for dessert. Instead of having that cake cutting moment, they did a first scoop picture opportunity. It was so cute, and I swear people are still talking about it years later. Generally speaking, people will expect some kind of dessert at the end of the night. Now, again, we're talking about breaking rules. If dessert isn't your thing, you can skip it, but guests will likely be asking if there is dessert. Just keep in mind that it doesn't have to be the traditional cake if that is not what you want to do. And while we're talking about this, let's talk about coffee service. If you're not at a traditional venue that includes it, you might want to think about adding it with your caterer. Rule number 4, you must wear white. The white wedding dress tradition is actually relatively modern. relatively. Thank you to Queen Victoria in the 1800s. Prior to that, brides would just wear whatever their nicest dress was. If it happened to be white, it happened to be white. At that time, white wasn't popular because it was super impractical, difficult to clean, and it showed stains really easily. And it wasn't linked to purity at that time. When Queen Victoria got married in 1840, she wore an ivory silk satin gown with a special trimmed lace. Her dress choice was partly political and economical. She wanted to support the lace industry, so she showcased their work by wearing a solid white dress with the lace detail showing. The wedding was heavily publicized for that time, meaning that there were paintings of her in her gown that really spread across Europe and America. This is what set off the trend amongst wealthy brides who saw white as a status symbol because it meant that they could afford to buy a dress that they were only going to wear once. And that's the real reason why the white dress first became popular. The link to white as a purity thing came in much later in the Victorian era. Originally, white, though, was about fashion, wealth, and showing off craftsmanship, not morality. Now, just like all of these rules, there is absolutely nothing wrong with following it. I know so many people dream of the one moment that you're going to wear that beautiful white dress, right? I'm certainly not here trying to tell you it's wrong to wear white or ivory. But for some of you, it just might not be your color. I love when brides go bold, whether it's a black gown, blush tones, maybe metallics, or even prints. So if that is more your vibe and what you're going to feel the most comfortable in, by all means, don't feel like you have to go a shade of white. Rule number 5, you have to invite all of your extended family. Now, this is the one that can get couples in trouble with their family, but here's the truth. More guests equals more money because it's more tables, more time saying hello to people, and less time actually enjoying your wedding day. If you're not close to somebody, you don't need to invite them to your wedding just because they're technically your second cousin twice removed. Save your guest list and budget for those that you truly want to celebrate with. Now, watch me contradict myself real fast here because I do recognize that this is so much easier said than done for many of you. If cutting the guest list way back is going to create a massive family feud, take a step back and think about whether it's really worth the possible drama or not. You and your fiance are really the only ones that can answer that question. Rule number 6, you must toss the bouquet and the garter, or cut the cake, or have a grand entrance, or have the formal family dances. I could go on and on. One of my favorite things about weddings these days is that couples are realizing that they can incorporate the things that they really want to do. So some of those traditions might be things that you've been dreaming about, but others you might be dreading or you have no desire to do it. If you have dreamed of tossing the bouquet, have that moment. But for some, these moments can not only feel super awkward, they can feel really performative, especially if you're not comfortable being the center of attention. And nothing feels more cringe than when a DJ is hyping up the bouquet toss, calling all the single ladies out on the dance floor. You know what song they're playing. And there is one single guest that is out there. Now they're standing alone on an empty dance floor, totally embarrassed. Now, just like we talked about with the cake, you can incorporate these things into your wedding day with a twist if you'd like. Some examples of twists that we have done in the past. If you're worried about being the center of attention for the family dances, so father-daughter dance or first dance, one of the things we've done in the past is invite all of the father-daughters out onto the dance floor to dance with you so it doesn't feel like all eyes are just on you and your dad or you and your new spouse. We've also coordinated with the DJ that at some point in the night, they will play a specific song that is meaningful to you and your dad, and you'll have that dance, but it won't be announced. So that way you get to have your moment with your dad without feeling like all eyes are on you. Instead of the bouquet toss, you can have what we call an anniversary dance, where the DJ invites all the married couples out onto the dance floor, including the two of you, and they gradually ask couples to leave based on how long they've been married. So if you've been married less than a year, if you've been married less than 5 years, and so on, until eventually you and your new spouse are on the dance floor with the couple that's been married the longest within your guest list. You can then give that couple the toss bouquet instead of tossing it. And while we're talking about it, if you are planning on tossing the bouquet or gifting it during the anniversary dance, talk to your florist about making you a toss bouquet. Most of the time, the actual bouquet that's thrown or given to the guests is not the actual bride's bouquet, but it is a fake one that is made with leftover flowers. So it's not going to be as elaborate, but that way you can keep your bouquet and preserve it if you'd like to, but still have a toss bouquet to use for that moment. Rule number 8, you must have a wedding party. And this one is a quick one for you. If you want to have a wedding party, have one. But there is no law saying that you must have a wedding party. Some couples are skipping the official titles and just having friends get ready with them, serve as witnesses when you're signing the license, or have some other symbolic way that they're involved without the matching outfits and the drop. This can really cut down on your stress of including people and making sure that everybody is purchasing their outfits and so on. And it certainly saves your friends the expenses of participating in a more traditional way within the wedding. Rule number 9, your guests need formal paper invitations. Now, paper invitations can be a gorgeous keepsake, and most people love the opportunity to have something arrive in the mail that is not like a political ad or other junk mail, right? But they're not the only option. Digital invitations have definitely come a long way in the last few years, and they are incredibly beneficial when it comes to tracking RSVPs. If you want the best of both worlds, you can do a digital save the date and then a printed invite that has a QR code that links to the website and the RSVP. And finally, rule number 10, you have to have favors. For those of you who have been debating about having a wedding favor for your guests, don't. I see it happen time after time after time. Favors get left behind at the end of the night. Now, there is one major exception to this, and that is when it is a food-based favor. So think sugar cookies, chocolates, or even those Jordan almonds. Those will always be gone. If it's not one person's thing, someone else will certainly take it. They don't get left behind. But favors like bottle openers, koozies, or candles, those we see get left behind all the time. If you do have a non-food-based favor in mind that feels like it's really connected to the two of you, consider giving them out one per couple or per family instead of one per guest. This will help eliminate the potential waste. And one final favor recommendation, if you have something currently earmarked in your budget for favors, but nothing is really appealing to you, consider putting that part of the budget into a late night snack, maybe upgrading the bar, or adding a dessert station into the mix. I promise your guests are going to appreciate this so much more than a random trinket. At the end of the day, wedding rules are only useful if they actually mean something to you. If they don't, break them, change them up, or rewrite them completely. Your wedding should feel like a reflection of the two of you and your relationship, not a performance for tradition's sake. Pick the parts that you love, ditch the rest. Now, I want to hear from you. What traditions are you looking forward to? Or what traditions are you looking forward to skipping? Do you have any that are really important for you to keep? Find me on Instagram at Planning Collectively. Don't forget the LY, Planning Collectively, and let me know in the post for this episode. And if this episode gave you a little bit of relief or permission to create the day that you really want to, I would love it if you could take a quick second to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps more couples hear that they don't need to have that cookie cutter wedding. And honestly, it keeps these episodes with free tips coming your way each week. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.